The Arsenal number 9. Some of the most prolific goal scorers in the Premier League era played for Arsenal. I'm talking Robin van Persie and Thierry Henry. These players were polarizing figures in their time, being complete in every aspect. They were strong and physical, allowing them to dominate defenders and had amazing goal scoring ability. But over the years, we've seen clubs move away from this type of striker to more facilitative forwards. So what do I mean by facilitative? These strikers are those whose primary role is to bring others into play. Drop into midfield and link the play, play for others. They're team players. This profile of strikers was popularized by Pep Guardiola at Barca, famously using Leo Messi as a false nine. The false nine was also used by Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. Klopp used Roberto Firmino to facilitate for the prolific goal-scoring wingers in Mo Salah and Sadio Mane. Pep used Gabriel Jesus at Man City and more frequently Sergio Aguero in that false nine role. These strikers are called facilitative forwards. They allow the team to click. They are the heartbeat of the team, allowing their teammates to shine. They are not prolific goal scorers, box threats, they're not traditional strikers. They bring others into play to do just that. Going into the 22-23 season, Arsenal had young and hungry wingers in Martinelli and Saka. So they just needed one more addition to that attack to truly bring out the best in these two players. They needed a false nine type of player, so they signed Gabriel Jesus from Man City. Jesus, in all his quality, by his own admission, is not a goal scorer. He is, in every definition of the word, a false nine. He brings others into play, allows the team to click, and he was an amazing signing for Arsenal, allowing them to mount a proper title challenge in the 22-23 season. But nowadays, we're seeing clubs move back to goal-scoring strikers, to the meta strikers, goal-scoring strikers, physical, strong forwards that are more advanced and in the box rather than dropping off and bringing others into. We see these profiles in abundance in the league with the likes of Nunez at Liverpool, Haaland at Man City, Højlund at United, Watkins at Villa, Tony at Brentford, the list goes on. All of these strikers give their teams numerous benefits. They can be targets for long balls, they are targets from set pieces, they are the focal point of the team's attacks. The closest Arsenal have to this profile is Kai Havertz, and he's only just settling in that left 8 position. Over the last few months, Arsenal have been linked with a plethora of strikers. But do they really need to sign a striker to be a dominant force in Europe? And if so, which one should they sign? Now, we need to take into account that Arsenal already have Gabriel Jesus and Eddie Nketiah at the club. As we said earlier, Jesus is a false nine, and Eddie Nketiah, despite coming up through the academy, he cannot get them to where they want to be. He's a very good player, but he's not a ceiling raiser. In addition to this, there's the issue of FFP. Arsenal signed Declan Rice for 100 million, Kai Havertz for 65, so they'll need to balance their books to spend well. And with the way the market's going right now, to really sign a top-tier ceiling raiser, they need to spend about 80-90 million pounds. So for the sake of this video, we're going to assume they sell Eddie Nketiah for a great price and sell some other homegrown players like Smith Rowe and a French player like Thomas Partey and Elneny to get in line with FFP regulations. So who should they sign? There are a lot of decent strikers on the market, but are the elite ones available? And if so, can Arsenal sign them? Let's take a look. Victor Osimhen has proven to be one of the best strikers in Europe over the last 2 years. His stock continues to rise this season as well. Currently, he seems to be at odds with Napoli and may well get a move in the coming windows, be it January or in the summer. Osimhen is a fantastic finisher, no doubt. Incredible ball striker, extremely physical. He's a beast. In other words, he's a polar opposite to Gabriel Jesus. Primarily, Osimhen is not a link-up player. He's not the most technical of strikers, but he can link up very well when necessary. He can hold up the ball due to his strength and bring others into play. He's also at a good age, but these qualities just don't come without a hefty price tag, so he's most likely going to cost upwards of 100 million pounds. But if they do sign Osimhen, Jesus will be on the bench more often than not, as maybe for the first few games until Osimhen settles in, Jesus plays. But when Osimhen finds his footing in the Premier League, Jesus is going to be a bench player. But as with every transfer, there is a risk with this side. Do Serie A talents transfer well to the Premier League? That's one question. Last season and this time around as well, Jesus has been the link and the heartbeat of the team, so signing Osimhen would kind of shift the dynamics in the team and the attack. Arsenal's unexpected title charge last season was a result of these specific dynamics. The back line is already set in stone, Declan Rice is settling into the 6, Odegaard is already established in the right 8, and Havertz seems to be finding his feet in the left 8. The problems though lie in the attack. Jesus dropping into midfield, dragging defenders, opening up space for the wingers to attack is a big part of Arteta's tactics. If Osimhen were to join, they would need to re-establish their attacking balance. Instead of the striker allowing the wingers to thrive, it would mostly be the exact opposite. Osimhen would be the focal point of the attack, a target for all the balls across the pitch. He's going to be the primary source of goals. But I think the risk is worth the gamble. He's a top level striker, and if he is available, Arsenal should be all over it. A big question mark here is whether or not they should make the move in January. Will he disrupt the team tactics too much during the business end of the season, when they should have a settled 11? Another great striker that is potentially available, perhaps in January, is Ivan Toney. Toney is Brentford's jewel. A seasoned English striker, he knows the Premier League very well. He has taken it by the scruff and has impressed massively throughout his career. Toney is one of the most complete strikers out there. He is tall, strong, physical, the whole nine. When asked, he can drop into midfield and link the play due to his strong physicality. He is a target for long balls as well. Brentford tactics heavily lean on long balls from Raya to Toney, and Toney chests it down and moves it on to Mbeumo or the other attackers. He can push the box with an incredible eye for goal. He can score with his left, right, headers, all of it. He has very good chemistry with Mbeumo, and sometimes he can be a playmaking forward. Although creativity is not his best trait, such as, say, Benzema or Firmino, he can create to an acceptable standard. He's a leader of the press, but he is not a workhorse. He doesn't spend his energy unnecessarily running around. He works smart, not hard. Despite all of his quality, the glaring issue with Toney is his discipline and commitment. Last year, he was banned for 8 months for sports betting. While being at Brentford, he has spoken openly about his desire to join other clubs such as Liverpool and Arsenal, which is a bit off-putting considering the journey he's been on with them. His ban ends in January, and it looks like he will be on the market.
The next club I'll go to, if I was to move, it would be like the right club.
When you say the right club, you're not talking about Liverpool, are you? I heard you're a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, a Liverpool fan. I feel.
You've been a Liverpool fan your whole life?
Yeah, I've been a Liverpool fan my whole life, but from young, I've liked Arsenal. I like watching Arsenal from how they play and the kind of how passionate the fans are. But yeah, Liverpool fan, Liverpool boy.
Over the last 2 years, he's been heavily linked with Liverpool and United. But both of these sides have made large investments on strikers with huge potential in Nunez and Højlund respectively. Toney seems like a no-brainer for Arsenal with his Premier League pedigree and his immense ability. But we need to consider the circumstances. If Brentford are going to sell their best asset, they're going to do it for a huge fee, at least 80-90 million. Despite all of his ability, would he be a worthy investment? He hasn't played football for months and has had disciplinary issues before. Would Arsenal be willing to overlook this? I personally don't think so. Not in January anyway, where you would expect the whole team to be at peak performance levels and fully locked in. If they do choose to sign him, they would have to do so in the summer, giving him a proper preseason to find his fitness, get his focus up, all of that. But signing a player who would need time to gel in with the team and understand the tactics in January would be very risky in my opinion. So far we've talked about these elite strikers, the ones that would cost 80-90 million. But what if Arsenal don't go for an elite striker? Would it hurt them to sign someone a level below the elites? In my opinion, not every signing needs to be the next big thing in the position, the future position. And historically, Arsenal don't really go for these players. Arsenal sign good players and make them great.
I turn good players into great players.
So should they take the gamble on a relatively budding striker? My standout recommendation if they go down this path is Santi Giménez of Feyenoord. The Mexican has established himself as one of the best finishers in Europe, having scored 18 goals already this season in 15 games from an XG of 14.1. His conversion rate is insane. His threat in the box is incredible, so clearly he's an upgrade on Jesus in the finishing department. But what if the link-up and the false nine work? Can he do it if necessary? After all, tactical flexibility is everything in modern systems and certainly very important to Arteta. And some new signings need to fit that bill. Hold-up play is a big strength of his. He fits the modern striker profile in this area as well. He's not very pacey like Haaland or Nunez, but with faster players around him, he can play them in behind with good passing accuracy. Feyenoord don't really play counter-attacking football though, so we rarely see this happening, but if he were to join Arsenal, you'd have Martinelli and Saka very direct 1v1 threats in behind. So this could work, these dynamics could work. Santi has very good close control, particularly in the box, with body feints and shifted balls between his feet, being how he scores a lot of his goals. Being left-footed, he might also be able to provide cover for Saka that is desperately needed. However, he has almost never played at right wing, so this idea might be a bit far-fetched, but modern systems aren't really rigid, Some wingers rarely hug the touchline like Prime Salah. Some strikers are rarely in the box like Jesus, Modern systems are quite flexible. Wingers are not really wingers sometimes. So I wouldn't put the idea of playing Santi on the wing past Arteta. So this could be a good option. So in terms of profile, he fits the bill of the modern forward. Question mark here though is that Eredivisie talents haven't really performed to the expected levels in the Premier League. Like we've seen Anthony and Donny van de Beek for United heavily underperforming. So would he be worth the gamble? Or Osimhen? As I said earlier, certainly wouldn't as with every transfer. Signing him in would cost around 50, it would have its own element, would be a good fee for a young up-and-coming striker that's already shining and is showing a lot of potential. He would settle in playing behind Jesus for now, but at the rate he's going, he's probably going to replace Jesus sooner than later. And he would be a good option to come off the bench for Jesus, maybe rotating, it would be a good option for Arsenal. And therefore, considering all circumstances, he's my preferred striker for Arsenal. His transfer would have the perfect balance between reasonable fee, good current ability, immense potential, and wouldn't really disrupt the team's tactics too much. He's not going to command playing time. He's going to take time to gel in with the team tactics, and in the meantime, you're going to keep all your players happy. I would personally go for Santi over the other two I talked about in this video, given the circumstances of each potential transfer. But this is not the only option for Arsenal. What if they don't sign a striker at all in January? Can they work with what they have right now? Is there an in-house solution for Arsenal? Perhaps Arsenal don't want to invest heavily on a striker in January. Perhaps they don't want to let go of Eddie Nketiah and Emil Smith-Rowe, Partey. Perhaps they don't want to sell valuable assets to comply with FFP. Maybe they want to find more goals from within their squad to really push them to glory. As we have already established, Jesus is not that guy. Saka's already world-class at the right wing, but he is not a prolific goal scorer or an efficient goal scorer, to be fair. Odegaard is a silky, technical player, and again, not really a primary goal scorer, neither is Havertz. So who can score the goals for Arsenal? Where can they get the goals from? This might sound like a bit of a stretch, but I would like to see Gabriel Martinelli play down the middle with someone like Trossard or Jesus down the left wing. Allow me to explain. Martinelli is one of the best, if not the best, finisher of Arsenal. His ball striking is magnificent. He's a very direct player, major 1v1 threat, but you're going to lose physicality that you would need in a striker. A lot of Premier League defenders are very, very strong and very hard to deal with, so he's not going to be able to do the hold-up play or be a 1v1 threat against them physically. But I don't think he would be expected to do the hold-up play. That's what Havertz is there for. So perhaps playing Martinelli as a striker is not really as far-fetched as it sounds. Trossard has shown how good he can be when he's called upon, so playing him down the left would be a very good option. Martinelli has a great conversion rate, unlike his counterparts in the Arsenal attack. Saka is closer to Martinelli than Jesus is. So would Arteta be willing to trust his number 11 down the middle? I don't think it's as far-fetched as it sounds. A little bit of coaching might make Martinelli adjust his game to that role. I'm not saying his future is as a striker. He's probably gonna play left wing for most of his career, but having the versatility to play as a number 9 would be a good option. The same thing was experimented with Rashford under Jose Mourinho, and it didn't really go well. So perhaps this may not be a good idea, but I would argue it's worth a try. So what do you guys think? Which striker should Arsenal sign? Do they even need to sign a striker? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.